Welcome back to the CooCast. My name is Nick. Today we're talking about a lot of things today. I mean, it has actually been a very interesting kind of last couple of weeks. I didn't have a lot to report on, to be honest, but there has been a lot of things coming up. I've been, since Game of Thrones ended, and there's just been, it's really just been a lot of not much. But then suddenly, a lot of stuff happened in one go. I mean, E3 happened this week. We also had Keanu Reeves being the best human being on the planet right now. I went and saw Godzilla, the Chef Show, which is a new show on Netflix. The Raptors won today. There are tourists going to Chernobyl because of the HBO show. I mean, there are so many things. Oh, and Nintendo stock dropped by $1 billion. It just got wiped off the market because of one game that didn't come out on time. So we are going to talk about all that stuff. So let's go to the top of the show. We've got basically Keanu Reeves. Is he the best? Is he the best of us? That's what we want to know. It's been interesting because there's been tons of memes going around of Keanu Reeves, and like I've said in previous podcasts, I think this dude is a legend, but it seems like the world seems to agree with me, and he seems to be popping up in everything. I mean, I already love John Wick, and there's also another movie on Netflix called, what's it called? Always Be My Maybe, which stars Ali Wong and Ray Park. Frig. How am I spacing on his name right now? Who was it? Raymond Frig, man. I'm totally spacing on the guy from Always Be My Maybe. Why am I spacing on his name? What's his name? This is just embarrassing. I'm sorry, guys. Always Be My Maybe. Stars. Randall Park. Ray Park. Ray Park, I'm pretty sure, is the dude from Star Wars Episode 1. He's the guy who plays Darth Maul, right? Is that Ray Park? Now I'm totally getting confused. I'm getting old, man. I'm getting old. Ray Park. Yeah, Ray Park is, he's known for playing Darth Maul. I don't know why I'm getting these people mixed up. Ray, he's just, I don't know, Randall Park. Anyway, Randall Park, you might remember him from The Interview. He's also in Fresh Off the Boat, one of my favorite TV shows on TV. Basically, Keanu Reeves is popping up in everything at the moment, and I'm just going to take you through some of these memes, but essentially he's the best of us, guys. Look at this meme. What is the secret for always staying down to earth? Gravity. He said that in this interview where he was being interviewed by BuzzFeed while puppies were running around him. I mean, it was amazing. I have a lot of bias towards Keanu Reeves. If somebody out there has dirt on why Keanu Reeves is not a good dude, I probably wouldn't want to listen because I wouldn't believe it. I totally wouldn't believe it. Keanu Reeves in movies, games, Keanu Reeves in person. Yeah, you would have seen this. If for the people listening, it's an angry dog versus an angry dog and then a cute cat. Keanu Reeves obviously in the movies is an angry dog, but in real life he's a cute cat. And there's this third meme where actors that nobody hates annual meeting, and you see a photo of Tom Hanks and Keanu Reeves. True, Tom Hanks, America's treasure. Keanu Reeves is also becoming that treasure. And he also popped up in this game called Cyberpunk 2077, which it debuted a little bit a while ago, but they just announced at E3. E3, for those who don't know, is a gaming convention that happens in, I believe, Vegas. It's a massive gamers convention, essentially. And they just announced that Keanu Reeves is in the game.
The guys from CD Projekt Red approached me and asked me to be a part of their new project, Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk.
I mean, this guy is everywhere, and people could not be more excited about the fact that Keanu Reeves is pretty much everywhere. So I'm just adjusting my collar here because it doesn't look very good. There's this meme with Stephen Colbert, and this actually did happen in the interview. I saw it. Like I said, I've been watching this Keanu train for quite some time, so it's interesting to see him. What do you think happens when we die, Keanu Reeves, is what Stephen Colbert says, and he takes a deep breath and he says, I know, see if I can do my best Keanu Reeves impression. I know that the ones who love us will miss us. And then Steve Colbert shakes his hand. How can you not like this dude? Honestly, he's like I said, he's the best of us. Number 6, Keanu Reeves took a quick break from filming John Wick 2 to walk a pit bull in New York City on Monday. Looked terrifying. For those who can't see, he's walking. There's a pit bull in John Wick 2. It's not really a spoiler. He does get a new dog in the next movie. And he's just walking around New York City, walking his pit bull. And he's covered in like this prosthetic blood stuff. Like he looks all manged up. I mean, but obviously everybody would know it's Keanu Reeves, and he's obviously doing an action movie. And yeah, the last one I'll just show you is from the movie Destination Wedding. If you have seen that movie, it's not a great movie. It's a bit all over the place. Like I said, Keanu Reeves is a bit of a hit and miss actor when it comes to his movies, but man, I still love seeing his movies, even his bad ones, because I like Keanu Reeves. I think that should be the way it is. It's like, doesn't matter if he's good or bad. I just want to see this guy in more movies because all power to him. Seems like a great dude. Anyway, it's a picture of Winona Ryder just looking at Keanu Reeves in this adoring way, and above Winona Ryder's head it says the entire internet and Keanu Reeves just existing. So yeah, so he seems to be in everything at the moment. And I just watched Constantine today, and look, whether you like Constantine or not, I don't know, but it's interesting like seeing him. He does play very much similar characters in every movie, but what are you going to do? I mean, it is Keanu. Anyway, that's enough fangirling over Keanu Reeves right now. Now going back a little bit, I did see Always Be My Maybe, which is the Ali Wong-led Asian movie rom-com on Netflix at the moment, starring Randall Park and Ali Wong. I did like it. I didn't have a problem with the movie at all. It's pretty serviceable. It's a pretty serviceable kind of movie. Like, it's not going to break any new ground, but I did enjoy the film. It was funny. And Ali Wong, if you've seen any of her other specials like Baby Cobra or Hard Knock Wife, Hard Knock Wife I didn't watch all the way through. I didn't think it was as funny, but Baby Cobra had me in hysterics, like belly aching hysterics. So I recommend at least that one. Hard Knock Wife didn't quite grab me as much, but whatever. Like it's still funny, and she's a brilliant writer. I've been following her career since Fresh Off the Boat. She's a great writer, and she's obviously a great actress as well. And the chemistry between Randall Park and Ali Wong is very palpable. They've obviously, and I have seen interviews with them, and they seem to be good. They seem to be people who have known each other for quite a long time. So I can see why there's a lot of chemistry there. And somehow, these guys got Keanu Reeves in the movie, and he plays someone who's so not like he plays himself actually. Like, he plays a version of himself. He plays the douchey version of himself. I mean, maybe that's what he's like. I don't know, but I can't imagine he's like this. Like, from everybody, even Ali says, and Ali Wong says, who wrote this movie, said he's the nicest guy. And but he plays a complete douche in this movie, which is hilarious. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt. It is a great movie. And Daniel Day Kim's in it, if you know him from Lost. It's a great movie. I enjoyed it a lot. I really hope you guys enjoy it. It is funny. I'm always going to support my Asian brothers and sisters making stuff, because that is basically the only way. If you want to see more Asian faces on the screen, you got to write that content, and you got to make it as well. So good on those guys for getting out there and making that stuff. It's good stuff. I realize now, actually, when I wrote the notes for this is a very Asian-centric episode, because I'm not lying, the Asians are kind of dominating in some spheres at the moment. But yeah, I mean, do we say that Keanu Reeves is an Asian? I'm just going to claim him as our own, because kinda. He's got a kind of half Asian Hawaiian mum. We'll claim him as our own, because Keanu Reeves, good dude.
The feeling of being there, of walking the streets of the future, is really going to be breathtaking. You're breathtaking. You're breathtaking. You're all breathtaking.
I also saw Godzilla King of the Monsters. That's a movie I'm not sure if everybody's going to love. I can imagine a lot of people thinking, what the heck is this? It is just monsters fighting. Not my cup of tea. But I will say this, if you had a problem with The first Godzilla movie, the Gareth Edwards Godzilla movie from 2000 and whatever, the one that was maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. I think it was about maybe even longer than that, 6 years ago. If you had a problem with that movie because Godzilla wasn't in it much, well, let me tell you, this movie does not shy away from having a lot of monsters fighting at the same time. It is great. If you are looking for disaster porn mixed in with monsters fighting each other, you are in for a treat. This movie hits on all levels. We've also got what's it called? Millie Bobby Brown's in this movie. And who else is in it? There's Frig. That's what's her name. I always forget her name. What's that lady's name? That's always gonna bug me. Godzilla King of Monsters. Sorry, I gotta go to Google. Godzilla King of Monsters review. No, not review. I just want to know who's in the movie. Figuera. The lady. I know her name. I know who she is. Frig. Why did I know her name? Cast. King of Monsters cast. Come on, Nick. Vera Farmiga. You would know her if she's been around for quite a while, but it's nice to see her on the big screen. Thomas Middleditch is also in this. He's hilarious. Obviously Ken Watanabe returns in this movie as well. We've also got Kyle Chandler looks super familiar, but I don't know who he is. Who is this guy? I should know because I've seen him in heaps of stuff. He was in Friday Night Lights, Bloodline, Early Edition, The Wolf of Wall Street. I've seen him before in tons of stuff, but I've never actually known what his name is. Sally Hawkins, obviously the lady from The Shape of Water, is in this. And we've also got who was the last person? Oh, and Zhang Ziyi. That surprised me. It took me a while to figure out Zhang Ziyi was in this movie. I was like, she sounds so familiar. Why do I know that voice? I mean, I don't. You know, you don't see a lot of Asian actresses in movies with an accent and a voice that you recognize. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's Zhang Ziyi from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And she's like way older, but not like older. I mean, Asian women don't age for ages, but she looks great. But I just didn't recognize her because she is just grown up and she just sounds older. So that was kind of cool. Anyway, recommended if you like monster movies. Probably not recommended. There's not a lot of story in terms of it's not a story. It's not like a lot of story movies. If you liked, I'll just put it this way: if you thought Pacific Rim was a dope movie, this is the movie for you. You will enjoy this film. It's pretty cool. Anyway, just a couple of other things that probably might pique your interest. I'm just gonna ramble through a whole bunch of TV shows that I'm watching at the moment. If you want to follow along, as I said. These are things that I just thought, that was actually kind of cool. The Chef Show, which is the John Favreau and Roy Choi show based basically on the Chef movie. Now, I didn't see the Chef movie because it didn't interest me at all, but watching this show, I watched probably 4 episodes in a row and then another 4 episodes in a row. It's pretty good. And it's more than just cooking. It's actually quite an interesting journey into... It makes you want to cook. And that's kind of a show. It's entertaining, but it also makes you want to cook. And so it's a bit more interesting than just a cooking show. It's Jon Favreau, who, if you don't know, is the director of Iron Man, basically goes around and interviews all these other celebrities. I think the first episode, they sort of hang out with Gwyneth Paltrow, who apparently didn't know that she was in Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming? No. Yeah, she didn't know she was in Spider-Man Homecoming. She thought she was in an Avengers movie, which we found out in the show, which was quite funny because that's Gwyneth Paltrow. And we also sit down with the cast of the Avengers, which is also cool. So Robert Downey Jr. turns up, and we've also got Tom Holland and Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers. It's interesting, like, seeing them all talk together. And also, we get a whole bunch of other celebrities, like Robert Rodriguez was also one of my faves, because if you ever see Robert Rodriguez in any of his older documentaries, in his behind the scenes, he always shows you the 10-minute film school, and he also shows you a 10-minute cooking school, which, if you look on the internet, are really interesting videos. Like, he kind of cuts them in a really entertaining way. Robert Rodriguez, I mean. So it's interesting to see him. I think I said interesting like 10 times now, but it was really cool seeing Robert Rodriguez cooking with Jon Favreau and seeing his sort of process. And I kind of love Robert Rodriguez as well, as a side note, because I think he was always my inspiration in terms of wanting to get into film and production and stuff, because he was a guy who just said, you know what, I'm just going to pick up a camera and just start making a movie and write a script, and no one's going to tell me that I can't make it. And he basically did it. He was the first out of the gate. He was like he was like he had the fairy tale story of how to make our first indie film. Well, apart from George Lucas. And I'm just letting you know, there will be a George Lucas podcast coming up soon, because I need to talk about this dude. And one day I hope to meet George Lucas before he dies, because he's like the coolest dudes. It'll be George Lucas and Hayao Miyazaki. Those are two guys I would love to meet before they pass on. And Robert Rodriguez too, if I get to meet him, which would be James Cameron also. But we'll see. We'll see if that stuff ever. These are just guys. It'd just be cool to meet them, eh? Okay, the other show too is oh yeah, I watched the Chef movie as well. It's all right, but it is. I think the Chef movie is better now. I think I have a bit more favorite. I feel more what do you call? I like the movie Chef a lot more now that I've seen the TV show. So if you saw the movie Chef and you didn't like the movie, maybe watch the show, the Chef show on Netflix, and then see if you like the movie. Oh, I just thought it was cool. Anyway. Whatever. Oh, the kid's really good in it too. The kid who plays John Favreau's son is great. So moving on. What we got? We've also got What We Do in the Shadows, which is also a TV show on. It's showing on Foxtel, but it's also an HBO, I think. It's a great adaptation of the taking the What We Do in the Shadows concept and transporting it to Manhattan, where we follow 4 other vampires as they try and basically navigate their way through Manhattan. They're not as successful as they should be, but they are sort of living in Manhattan being vampires. There is a hilarious character who is not a traditional vampire. He's sort of a unique kind of vampire that they introduce into the thing, and they sort of expand a lot more of the lore, but in funny ways. And the guy who plays the familiar of the main vampire is also pretty funny too. So guys, check that out. I recommend it. And also the last show I will recommend is Barry. If you're looking for a Game of Thrones hole to fill for the meantime, a good little one is, I heard Chernobyl's good, but I also heard Barry is I'm not heard, I saw the show. Barry is also pretty good. It stars Bill Hader, if you know who he is from SNL. He's an SNL alum. Hilarious actor. I've always thought Bill Hader was a good actor, but he kind of plays a bit of a funny dramatic role in this. Like he actually gets to act he actually gets to act a little bit more. And I've always said that for whatever reason, comedy is. A lot of actors say that comedy is harder to do than drama, and I guess it has to do a lot with the timing and trying to get the expression right and all that kind of thing. And you see it like actors like Robin Williams seem to knock it out of the park in terms of doing dramatic roles, but they're also extremely funny people. And I feel like Bill Hader is also one of these actors who can play comedy really well, but also can do the drama exceptionally well. Now, just to give you an overview of what the premise of Barry is, Barry is about a guy named Barry, and he is a hitman, and he's given basically a mark to go, and he's got a target, so he goes to go kill this guy who happens to be an actor, and he follows this guy to this acting class, and he gets sucked into the acting class, and Barry realizes he doesn't want to murder people anymore. He actually wants to do something else, like he wants to act instead, and he really enjoys acting. And so it's him trying to find a way to get out of killing people and to go and decide to act instead. And it sounds kind of ridiculous, but it is kind of a really interesting thing, because he has to try and figure out a way to get out of being an assassin, because obviously you can't just walk away from that game. You're obviously tied up with a whole bunch of other stuff. But at the same time, it's hilarious because he's being an actor and he's showing how to, all the things that happen in acting classes. I actually saw an interview that Bill Hader said that he had to go to actual acting classes in LA to find out how they actually do it. Because he actually never went to acting school, because he started in Canada and then he came down to the US and started in SNL, and he just basically shot to fame on SNL. But he never went to any kind of acting schools, and so he didn't know how all the routines were and how it all worked. So it was kind of interesting that he kind of got into this, and he was talking to other actors saying, oh, so do you remember this? And he's like, no, I never had to do this. I just got the job. Anyway, kind of funny. Bill Hader also is an actor that I think is really great, up-and-coming dude. I really respect this dude, and I think it's nice to see him do something that sort of stretches his acting ability. Also, anyway, oh yeah, and the other show I heard, which is great, and I haven't seen, but a lot of people have told me that this is a great show, is Chernobyl, and that's probably on my next to watch show. However, Chernobyl is doing so well at the moment that tourism is up. Tourism is up in Chernobyl. I don't know why, but people are. Apparently, it's up by about 40% compared to last year, thanks to the show. I heard people are actually going to the show, it says here, after the Chernobyl reactor exploded in 1986, radioactive particles quickly dispersed into the surrounding area, and approximately 200,000 people were evacuated and relocated. But in 2010, here we go. But in 2010, the exclusion zone was open to tourists, and the Ukrainian officials declared that any lingering radiation was negligible. Since then, Chernobyl tourism has grown in popularity, and the HBO series may have even sparked a greater interest in the blighted destination tour guide. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. I've heard other stories too that people have been basically running naked through these exclusion zones just because they can. I don't know if that's actually true. That's what somebody at work told me. I have to verify that story myself, but kind of hilarious if it was actually true. So yeah, guys, that is all that is fit to print about TV that's coming up at the moment. There's a lot of TV to watch at the moment, so if you're interested in that, good on you. A few other quick things. This is a bit of a tidbits thing. I'll get back into the meat and potatoes of stuff that's happening in the real world at some point, but these are just the headlines of all the great things that are kind of happening at the moment. Obviously, if you're an NBA fan, you would have known the Raptors won. Historic win for the Raptors. 114 to 110. Pretty great. Pretty amazing. Like I can't believe it. Canada is now the world championship in the NBA. Canada. Think about that for a second. We've never had, when I mean the world has never had a Canadian team win the NBA before. So this is historic, guys. Historic. All my Canadian friends, I'm sure, are cheering in the streets. I saw my mates, Sean and Jess Anderson, basically celebrating it up. I believe they even changed their license plate to the Raptors, so good on them for backing the right horse. So, congratulations on your win, Toronto, and congratulations to the country of Canada for also winning. You must be very proud. Now, this has also marked another historic event. An Asian American has finally won a championship ring, and that Asian American is Jeremy Lin. Yep, you heard it. We have finally got one. We got one, guys. We got one. Represent the Asians. I told you this was going to be a very Asian heavy show. Speaking of more Asian stuff, well, I guess you would call it kind of Asian. Nintendo stock has plummeted by $1 billion. So I don't know if it's actually recovered since then. That was yesterday. That was like Wednesday, right after E3, when it was pretty terrible because there was a whole bunch of games from E3 that basically came out for the Nintendo Switch, which was pretty awesome. So basically they've been announcing that, let's see what games they came out with. E3, Nintendo games. E3 Nintendo game is announced. Okay, so we got, there's tons of, oh, here we go. Everything announced at Nintendo's E3. Here we go. Yeah, so they had updates for Smash Bros. There's Dragon Quest 6 if you're into Dragon Quest, and Luigi's Mansion 3, which is, I don't know. It's Dark Crystal game. There's Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, which is a remake, and it looks dope. I'm actually interested in, I'm probably going to buy that, let's be honest. Trials of Mana, Fire Emblem, Resident Evil 6, The Witcher, which is going to be interesting, I don't know. Rogue Corps, Daemon X Machina, which looks dope. I saw the demo. That looks awesome. Panzer Dragon, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Astral Chain also looks pretty dope as well. Canes of Hyrule is definitely a game I'm going to get. It looks pretty excellent. Mario Sonic Olympics, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now, originally, this is apparently the rumor of why the Nintendo stock dipped by $1 billion. Tipped. When I mean dipped, it just plummeted, basically. Originally, they announced that Animal Crossing, one of the biggest games on the DS, basically was going to be released in 2019, basically this year. One of the biggest games on the DS. And everybody was super stoked that it was coming out this year. However, at E3, they did announce that it's not coming out till 2020. We don't know when in 2020. Let's say mid-year. They said, we can't release it yet. It's not quite right. And they said they're very sorry, but they can't release it until 2020 because we want to really, really get it right. Right after that, Nintendo stock dropped by $1 billion over Animal Crossing. I haven't played Animal Crossing yet. It is a game that I think I'll probably enjoy because I love games like Stardew Valley and Dragon Builders. So I have a feeling I'm going to like this game quite a lot. But man, $1 billion. People must really love this game because it is crazy. I mean, it looks cool, but it's no Legend of Zelda. But anyway, we'll see. Also, they also announced that a new Legend of Zelda sequel is coming, which is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel is coming, which is dope. And they did show a little bit of a teaser, not much. They just showed that Zelda had this really creepy looking trailer, and we are going back to Hyrule from Breath of the Wild. If you didn't play Breath of the Wild, I don't know why you haven't played it, but it's probably one of the best games of 2018. If you need to go play that game, if you're any kind of gamer, you will play Breath of the Wild. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, but they've released a new trailer. Zelda has got a new do. Let's see if I can find this. Zelda has got a new do. Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild sequel. See if I can find some images for this. Anyway, but yeah, it looked cool. Zelda's got a bit of a new do. You can see like her hair's pretty short here, so it looks interesting. I think everybody will be super stoked to see this game. Hopefully, they can knock it out of the park again. It'd be interesting to see what they do. So yeah, hopefully, we'll be in for a bit of a treat. Yeah, guys, that's it. There hasn't been a lot of really, really meaty things to really dig into this week, but I really hope that I'm trying to keep this a bit more regular. I hope there'll be more stuff coming up. I'm trying to think of more ideas to talk about, more meaty ideas to talk about. But what do you want to talk about? What are things you want to hear more of? I'm probably going to do at some point talk a bit more about. I'm going to do like a series on George Lucas because I really think that we can all learn as creative people things to learn about ourselves and maybe just directors in general that I really love. I would love to cover more people like Dave Fincher, James Cameron. They've all got really fascinating stories in terms of how they got to career, regardless of whether you think they're people that you should, you look up to or not. These people have really fascinating careers. George Lucas particularly is one of my faves because he really, really was a combination of being at the right place at the right time, but he worked so hard for it. And when he was a person that when nobody else saw it, he did. And even to the point where he completely doubted himself. Like, he didn't think he was doing it right. He thought that he had done the stupidest thing in making Star Wars. Can you imagine that there was a lot of things that made that stopped Star Wars from becoming a reality? Like, so many obstacles. There's a really great podcast called Blockbuster, which is the music was done. I actually got put onto it because our old mate Ryan Talbot, that I used to work with back at Hillsong, did the music for it, and he's in Hollywood making all this music for Hans Zimmer and a whole bunch of other people because he's bloody brilliant. He's like he's one of those genius composer guys. Yeah, he did the music. He posted on his Instagram that he did the music for this thing called Blockbuster, and it's a story about. It's a 5 or 6 part series podcast that you can get for free. That is about the relationship between George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. And this podcast is, they dramatize it, and I thought it would be really cheesy, but they've done it really well in a way that they've dramatized it in a really interesting way. And the production quality is good, and Ryan actually wrote a really great score for it. It really captures the essence of what it was like being, it's sort of that the music really captures the essence of that time period, and it is very reminiscent of that kind of music that John Williams sort of composes. So I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys get to listen to it. I mean, again, I also listened to a autobiography of George Lucas's life and his career as well. So coupled with that podcast and this autobiography, this dude is a legend, and I want to talk about him at some point. Oh, one more shout out. If you want to watch a dope movie made by a mate of mine, Phil Wade, he is one of the executive producers on this movie. It's called I Am Mother on Netflix. Man, I just want to show a little bit of this suit, but I Am Mother suit. I hope I can find it here. Anyway, this behind the scenes thing that basically the guys from Weta Digital made this, and I honestly thought when I was watching this movie that it was all CG, but it was a dude in a suit. And if you watch the Tested, if you go to the Tested YouTube site, you can actually see Adam is actually talking to this guy, the guy who played the mother, the robot mother in the movie, and he's just wearing a suit, and it is just crazy that it's just a guy in a suit, and you would never have guessed it. I honestly thought it was CG or something, but it's so well made. Anyway, super fascinating. This movie is. When I mean it's a budget movie, I know because it's only because it's an Australian made movie, and so I just know that the budget wouldn't have been immensely high for this film, but it looks like they spent way more on it because the production value looks so good. They've done a great job. Interesting premise. Go check it out if you can. And look, that's it for now. I'm trying out this new lens that I got. I don't know if the picture looks a lot better, but I kind of like it. We'll see how it looks when we put it up on YouTube. But I had to wait like 2 months to get this lens. It's a Sigma 16 contemporary lens. So hopefully it looks alright. It looks okay, I guess. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.